Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and a few days ago GameSpot put out several documentaries about Overwatch, and the story behind why it was created, all the passion that went into it, and a bunch more, and I highly recommend you watch those if you haven't already. But as you guys might have heard, in the first one, we may have been leaked a possible new hero. Now, a bunch of other people have kind of already explained all the evidence behind it, and that's not the reason I'm making this video, so I'll just sort of show you guys the basics behind it. So in one of the monitors, we can see one of the devs playtesting a new support that has the model of Widowmaker. And like a lot of people have said on Reddit, many times devs will use pre-existing models of older characters as placeholders for new ones until they get a model working. Now the thing is why would they use a Widow model if the new support didn't have anything to do with sniping? Now at another part in the video we see another dev working on a scope of a weapon, and in the middle of it is a triangle that is also seen on the mask of a character in this picture named Sombra, which could be Pharah's mother. Now there's a bunch of other evidence out there, especially on Reddit, but today I wanted to theory craft some possible abilities that the new support might have. Now having a support sniper is definitely interesting, and most likely, regardless of what her bullets or darts actually do, she's most likely going to be able to fire something at both enemies and teammates. Now in terms of supports, we already have speed in the form of Lucio and even Symmetra, healing over time in the form of Mercy, Lucio, and Zenyatta, and a damage multiplier debuff on Zenyatta. So whatever the new support was firing, it most likely wouldn't be anything to do with speed, healing over time, or making enemies take extra damage. The number one thing I think she will fire is just a massive burst heal towards single teammates. So not a healing over time, but just a single shot that heals a teammate up to a certain amount immediately. We don't have anything like a burst heal in the game yet, so it's something I think we will most likely see. Now another thing that has been talked about is cooldown reduction. Sombra could also fire a shot at her teammates to reduce their cooldowns, either by refreshing them completely or just reducing them by a bunch. Now on top of being able to help teammates, she could also be able to harm the enemies, and another thing we haven't seen in the game is some sort of silence effect, meaning enemies silenced could still walk around and fire normally, but couldn't use any of their abilities, including their ultimate. And another possible debuff could give enemies a damage reduction on their weapons and abilities for a few seconds. Now we may see these play out either like Hanzo or Zenyatta. If it's like Zenyatta, we would most likely only see two of these, one for helping allies and one for hurting enemies, but I think it would be really cool if by default the new support fired darts of burst healing and then had a cooldown reduction dart, a silence dart, and a damage reduction dart, all in the form of abilities with separate cooldowns. You could use, say, her silence dart ability and it would put one silence dart in her gun, sort of like how Hanzo puts a beacon or scattershot tips on his normal bow. Now for her ultimate, there could be a ton of different stuff. She could have an ult that gives her several of each dart to be able to fire them off a ton. She could fire a huge beacon that heals teammates and debuffs enemies inside. There's just a ton of stuff that could happen here, but it most likely depends on the abilities she has normally. And that's it. If you guys have any other suggestions or theories for the support sniper, then make sure to tell me in the comments down below. I'd love to hear all of your guys' thoughts and theories. And if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more Overwatch content and news. And like always guys, see you next time.